from a different location and time zone. So welcome to the webinar on Attune. We are doing webinars twice a month. Okay, today the webinar is on AWS Essentials. Okay, and the speaker is Junaid. Now, Junaid has more than 8 years experience in mobile application development and AWS platform, and he has delivered several trainings on AWS and Puppet and other related technologies in different parts of the world. So today Junaid will take us through AWS Essentials, and he will explain about how AWS is used in various application development and why it is so popular as a platform. So I will now I'll ask Junaid to take over and take us through this webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Anand. Very good evening and very good morning. And myself, Junaid, and I'm from the Attune. So now we have gathered here to discuss some of the points regarding AWS. So if we talk about the agendas today, so the agendas will be something like this one, like this. First, we will see what is AWS, why we are using AWS, and what is the main use in the real world scenarios. And we will see that how AWS came into the picture and when it was launched and what was the basic theory behind the AWS to come into action. Then we are going to see about the basic services, and the basic services are being termed as a foundational services. So AWS foundational services are EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud, VPC, that is Virtual Private Cloud, S3, that is Simple Storage System, and the last one is the EBS, that is Elastic Block Store. Now, if we are talking about the AWS essential part, so these are the basic and the core services which are being used in many of the services used in the AWS. Now we are going to see some more detail about that, what are the services and how we are going to use that services in our upcoming future applications if we are going for that particular platform. So first of all, the full form of AWS is Amazon Web Services. Now we all know about the Amazon. Amazon, we already have the word related to the shopping center or like some e-commerce platform. But AWS is the thing that AWS generally deals with these web services which are being provided by the Amazon. So now you can just imagine the power of the Amazon, that Amazon is also not only providing you e-commerce platform, but apart from it, it's also providing you the cloud computing services. Whatever the things, whatever the applications, whether on the web or whether onto the mobile, each and everything will be done onto the cloud computing. So your complete application will be onto the cloud. So no matter in the and across the world, wherever you are working, if you have the AWS account available with you, you can access your application or the service from across the world at any of the organization, right? So that is being web services which is being provided by the Amazon. So whenever the term comes about the AWS, so it is a web services which is provided by the Amazon, and it is being operated around with different 16 different regions across the globe. Now we also have the various scenarios like that, why we are using the AWS and what is the main use of having the AWS. So currently at around 50 to 60% of the IT companies across the globes are moving on to the cloud platform. So that they are using as a AWS. The reason behind is that it's completely flexible, scalable, and various scenarios come into the picture. So that is an AWS. And AWS has been have been indulged into recent updates like artificial intelligence, machine learnings, and this generally becomes a very much more powerful as compared to AWS. Right now, When we are talking about the history part, means how it came into the picture, what was the main scenario behind it. So first of all, it's nothing but it is a subsidiary of Amazon.com. So whenever we will open this site Amazon.com, so we will see multiple e-commerce platform, multiple application services, and based on that, AWS is the web services which is being provided onto the cloud platform for AWS, or the cloud computing platform for the mobile as well as web application. When talking about when it was launched, so in the year 2006, 2 to 3 persons from the United States of America, they have designed that they can perform the complete web services onto the cloud. And this was the same year when cloud computing came into the picture, and many of the leading companies have involved into the cloud computing platform. So whenever we are talking about this AWS, so it's nothing but AWS usually provides suite of cloud computing services which will make your in on-demand computing platform. Now, on-demand means that we are currently working with the system. So system are referred to as an instance. Okay, instance can be associated with the database, storage, volumes, and different concepts. So AWS, what they have done, they have already combined all these stuff with the single platform which is called AWS. So we are seeing the word which is called on-demand computing platform. And already we have seen that AWS can be operated from different 16 geographical locations across the world. And for this AWS services, we have the two main important services whenever we are working with any of the AWS platform. First one is called Amazon Elastic Cloud Compute Cloud, which is nothing but it is creating an instance. Now, what are the instance? This instance can be of anything. It can be either Windows, either it can be Ubuntu version, it can be Fedora, CentOS, or different versions. Then we have the second service, which is called Amazon Simple Storage Service. Now, as the word suggests, storage. So now it will be coming into your mind. So S3 is only dealing with the storage. If you want to store your any of the data, whether images, text, videos, or any of the images, then we are using Amazon S3, right? So when we are talking about this AWS, so EC2 and S3 are the most important leading platform when talking with the AWS platform. So this was the history, and the cloud computing platform when came into the action in the year 2006, AWS came into action. Now, features. Why we are using the AWS? What's the main reason? First of the reason is scalable. Scalable in the sense that whenever we are sitting at any of the location, any of the premises, whether you have mobiles, laptops, or any of the device, so you can easily scale your application. Means it's not mandatory that you must have only the system or the laptop. It is we can create the application and we can use on any of the leading platform. Second is reliable. As a word reliable, which means that it's easy to use. It's very easy to scale up your application, so it becomes reliable for your application, and is also inexpensive. Now, as we all know that AWS is the thing which generally deals with your paid services. So here, when first of all, when you will log in for your or will create your account for AWS, that AWS will provide you 12 months of free tier eligibility, which means that you can use many of the leading services free of cost. But each and every month, these services are being having some sort of things which we move into the paid version. So this is the most important thing that we need to work into the particular scenario. Otherwise, your bill will increase, and then the expensive part of this AWS services will be increasing. you need to mandatorily provide your credit card details, not debit or nothing, but it will use only credit card details. So if you will use that service or any of the service which is paid version, then Amazon will directly make a billing account of you of yours account, and they will directly charge you, and so you cannot easily neglect. No doubt, they also provide you the complete support for AWS, and the complete support is being done for the web as well as the calling. Now, when we're talking about the service support, so service support is something like that. Let's say you want your to contact with your customer service. So you will have two options, either web or either call. Call, which means that you have to provide your running mobile number. Once you will click your query, they will within a second they will call you to your mobile number, and you will get the complete information. Or if you want to give any inquiry regarding any of the AWS service, you will be able to get it. And if you go for the web, you have to give your email ID, and that email ID you will have to respond, and you will get the complete support for that particular AWS platform. Now, this was about the customer service setup. Now, the second thing is the feature when we are talking about the AWS is it is easy to set up. Now, why it is easy to set up? See, consider that you want to make the 4 servers. So what the scenario will be? The scenario will be like that. First of all, you have to bring your physical system, connect to your mouse and drivers and everything, and then you need to connect to that particular path. But in AWS, within a minute, I'm repeating again, within a minute, you can easily create your server, whether it is Ubuntu server, whether it is a Windows server, whether it is a Fedora server, or even the Red Hat server. So within a minute, you can create your instance, and you can do the development onto that server, and the same thing, you can deploy your complete application that you have created onto the server onto the AWS application. Okay, so within a minute you can create your instance server, and you can easily work onto particular platform. Now, it's completely secure. Secure in the sense that you already have your login ID and the password. So it depends up to you that whether you want to share that email ID to another candidate to whom you trust. So that becomes the complete security. So that is very completely secure. And whenever we are talking about the secure, so it's, as we all know, that it is on completely onto the cloud computing platform. So that will be the complete secure, and we can easily work with the AWS platform. Now, whenever we are talking about the feature, so currently we can easily work with the 3 parts. First one is management console. Second is AWS SDK, that is software development kit. And the third one is API. API is a thing that if you want to do the application programming interface of any of the programming device or the application device, you can easily do that particular stuff, and you can easily manage your application. So these are the features about the AWS, that what is the main reason of using the AWS into your current platform. Now, we have seen the theory about that what is AWS, why we are using AWS. Now the main scenario comes about the development in AWS, means how we can work with the AWS platform. First one is called AWS Console. Now what is this console? So if I go to this one, so this is the main dashboard that you can see on the screen, that this is the main dashboard, and you can see that this is the URL which is being provided. So this is called the AWS console. So whenever we are talking about this particular AWS console, so this is the console or the main dashboard. Second is CLI. CLI is nothing, as we all know, that it can be either terminal or the command prompt, which means that if I want to open the commands, if I want to access AWS from this particular terminal also, I can easily perform many of the particular applications using CLI. Third one is IDE, that is integrated development environment. It can be either Eclipse, either it can be Sublime, or it depends on the various platform. So we can perform the AWS platform using any of the three ways: AWS Console, CLI, and IDE. So this is a part which generally comes about the particular concept. Now we are going to see many of the first of the important points, and I will show you many of the simple things that how we can easily work on that particular platform. First one is Elastic Compute Cloud. As already suggested, that is EC2 is in short form is EC2. So EC2 is nothing but the instances, server instances that we are creating. So within a minute, we can create our instance and we can easily work with our application. Second is virtual private cloud. Now we already know what is virtual, which means that it's available onto the cloud and the private cloud. So whenever we are talking about the VPC, so whatever the incoming connection or the outgoing connection, or in the general term or the layman term, we can say it as a firewall type. Let what should be available and what should be not available, all these things are being handled by the VPC part. So we will see how VPC is working. Third one is simple storage service. Simple storage service is nothing but the storing part. Let's say if we want to store their images, videos, graphics, and any important points or the documents, we are using Amazon S3 service. And the last one is called Elastic Block Store. Now, block store, which means that volumes. Now, we already in all our the instance services, we are having, let's say we are having 100 GB of the storage, 160 bits of the storage. So all these things, so the volume part generally comes inside EBS part. So first a point that we need to understand is the EC2. I will show you first of all make an understanding on what is EC2. EC2 is nothing but a web service which is generally provide resizable compute capacity in the cloud, which means that in EC2 is nothing but the instance. Instance is nothing but the server. So the server that we are creating for any of the different work or different usage, we are using compute capacity in that particular cloud platform. So EC2 is a web service for providing resizable computing. Second point, why we are using, what is the main reason? It's nothing for the, but it make it easy for developers. Why easy for developers? Because we can easily make an application, we can easily make the server, and we can easily work with a particular platform, whether on to the cloud or onto the non-cloud platform. So first of all these things can be easily available and we can easily scale up that particular platform, and we can easily identify that what are our requirements, and based on our requirements we can easily see that what are the particular platform. Now inside the EC2 we have instances, and we already suggested that instances are nothing but the computing environment. So and it's nothing but the virtual, which means that it exists but we cannot see. So that is called the virtual part. And there are basically three types of EC2 instances. First one is called on-demand instance. On-demand, which means that pay only for the capacity by hour, which means that if you want to, let's say, I want to use one server only for 1 hour or 2 hours. So what I will do, I will use on-demand instance. And I will work with my application, complete my work, finish to the client, and it's over with no long-term commitments, which means that pay only for what you use and leave it. Second, reserved instances. Reserved instances, which means that it is usually provided with a discount rate. We provide discount rate because let's say in your organization you have supercomputer available, and for each of the complete supercomputing platform you must have high availability of the storage or high availability of the volumes. So you will have a large number of storage and for the particular instance. So for that particular, you have to reserve your instance. So for that particular part, reserved instance come into the action. And the last one is called the spot instance, which means that bid for the instance. Why bid for the instance? Let's say I and you both have the server, and we both the term need to use that particular server at the bidding part, which means I want to buy that server for $500 per month, and you are ready to buy that particular server for $600 per. So as the bid will be highest, the instance will be available. So it is called the spot instances. So these are the type of the EC2 instances when we are generally targeting. Now I will just like to show you that how to work with the EC2. So you can see this is the compute. Right. So inside the compute, we can find the EC2, and inside the EC2, you will find multiple instances, which means that how we can create the EC2 instance. Right. So first condition that we need to understand is that, so currently we can see we do not have any of the instances right now. Now here you can see the launch instance. So once I will click onto the launch instance, you will find multiple instances. So you can see around. This is Amazon Linux part. This is a Red Hat. This is SUSE, right? So you can easily see. First of all, you just have to click onto the select. So once you will select that one, so your instance will be easily created. So you can just imagine that how you can easily create your instance, how you can work with your instance, and we can easily work. Now, once your instance is created, so it will be currently onto the cloud. Right. So how we can access that particular instance? So that can be done with the SSH, PuTTY, or WinSSCP. So these are the nothing but the tools which are used for the connection. And for that particular instance, we need to have the key pair. What is the key pair? Key pair is nothing but we must have one key which is required to connect to your instance. So that comes a part of the security part. And once your instance is created, your public IP will be available. So let me just show you that how you can see. Let's say, first of all, I want to make an instance. So this is the first one. So I will select the Ubuntu version. So you will see that what instance type you want, whether you want free tier or whatever the things you want. So you can see multiple options are available. And whenever you want to see for the basic part, then you just have to see the free tier, and then click on review and launch. So once you will click on review and launch, your application will launch. So here you want the key pair and launch instance. So now your instance will be ready, and once we can easily work with your particular application, and then we can see that how we can easily work with our application. First of thing, we can directly connect from the web console also, and also from the PuTTY or WinSCP or everything. So once we will create our instance, we will see different things. Like you can see over here, this is my instance that I have created right now. Okay, and here we can directly see that our public IP has been created, our private IP has been created. What this is a key pair name. So key pair name is nothing but the key that you want to connect. And here you can see security groups are there, private IPs are, DNS is there. So this is the thing that you need to create when we want to particular part. And we can see that our instance is in running stage. So this is the thing that how we can easily particular work with a particular access. Now, second part is VPC. VPC is nothing but the sub cloud within AWS, which means that whenever we want to make any of the particular platform, let's say what are the incoming connection we want and what are the outgoing connection we want. So all these things can be easily be worked with the help of the VPC. Okay, now first of all, whenever we want to work with that particular platform, we must have the direct access to the internet. Without internet, we cannot connect to our particular VPC. And inside the VPC objects, we can do the subnetting part. We can perform VPN connection. We can do the routing part. Each and every thing can be easily be done with the help of VPC. So if you want to open the VPC, just have to click on to VPC. So you will find the complete login of the information about that, how we can easily access that particular platform, and we can easily see that how we can easily manage our particular VPC. And you can see onto the left hand side multiple subnet, route table, internet gateway, elastic IP, everything are available. So for each of these things are nothing but the related to the networking part. Okay, now storage. When we are talking about the storage, so it is nothing but the simple storage system, right? So whenever we want to work with a particular system, it is completely used as a storage system. It's not mandatory that you must have that account to, let's say, if I want you to access some of the data which are available on S3. So I will directly provide you the link, and you can directly download your particular platform whenever in use. And S3 is completely low cost. It does not provide you the billing for that particular part. It's completely available for the free of cost. But you must have your AWS account. It is completely secure, because security is the thing that which have the key pair associated with it, and then only you can easily work with that particular platform. Then we have the high performance scenario. High performance in the sense that it's completely based on to the particular platform, which will make your application completely into the highly performance application. And one thing about S3 is that it's completely web storage. It's not a file system. So it's generally in web store, which means that if you want to access any of the file, you just have to give the link that has been provided, nothing else. So if you have the link, you can directly access your file and you can work for that particular scenario. Inside that, you have the bucket. What is the bucket? In the general term, bucket is nothing where we keep the water or some different stuff. If we go for the shopping center, we have the bucket where we keep the foods and everything stuff that we want to buy. The same thing is the scenario with S3. S3 is the thing which have the bucket where we can keep your files, images, and everything. So that is a bucket, and it allows storage of 1 byte up to 5 GB each, which means that one bucket will have 5 GB each, and we can make up to 5 terabytes per bucket. So up to 5 terabytes, you in one bucket you can have this much of the data. Now it can be either raw data or metadata. Now, let's say you are a developer and your account has been created in AWS. So you will only have the limit of 100 buckets only. If you want, again, you have to call to the customer service care and they will provide you additional bucket, but for that, some pricing will be increased. So that is the concept which generally comes for the particular scenario. And when we are talking about the RRS, that is nothing but the reduced redundancy storage. So here it is based on your standard storage, your some lower redundancy will be created, and it will be have around 99.99% durability, which means that you can easily access. You do not have to worry about like something data is lost or something, and it's already available. And particularly for that particular scenario, security also decreases. Why? Because if you have some of the data which are very much complex, so might be some cases may happen that your data made loss. So for that particular scenario, security also decreases. And based on that, we have the very low cost scenario for that particular RRS. So that is the concept behind this S3. Last, the service that we are going have to see is the volume part. And the volume part is being handled by EBS, that is called block level storage volumes. So block is nothing but the instance or the servers that we are creating. And these servers are highly available and have reliable storage volumes. So you can make around 1000 GB or 1000 terabytes of the data easily with the help of AWS platform. And these volumes can be easily attached to the EC2 instance that you have created. But in EBS, we only have to pay that we have used. No additional charges. Whatever you have paid, you have used, for that only you have to be charged. Nothing more than that. And inside that, we can create volumes of various types. Either it can be general purpose, provision, and these are the general terms if we are talking about the technical parts. So mounting, we can also mount the volumes. We can easily use on particular platforms. We can mount multiple volumes, and also each volumes can be associated to one instance at a time. So if we go to this particular platform, you will find EBS, right? So if I go to EC2 instance, inside the EC2, you will find elastic block storage. So once you will go to the EC2, I will just show you for the last 5 minutes, I will show you that how we can work. Now here you will find block storage. Right. So here you can see we have elastic block store, and inside that we have the volumes. So inside the volumes, what are the volumes? So currently we have 8 GB of available, and that has been allocated to the EC2 instance that we have created just 10 minutes before. Now let's say if I want to detach that particular volume. So we have the option to detach. So that will directly remove volume from that particular platform. And let's see if I want to make one more volume. So it will ask for what particular scenario you want to work, whether provision, cold, throughput, or magnetic. Now let's say I want around 500 GB of the data. Right. Once it is created, I will click on create volume. Now my volume has been created. So this is my 500 GB of data. Now I want to attach this volume to my EC2 instance. So I will go to action, and here you can see attach volume. He will ask on which instance you want to. So currently we do not have any of the instance on this particular scenario. So once you will select this particular platform, you directly it will attach to that particular scenario. So this is the scenario that how it's working, and we can easily work with that particular platform. Clear? So this was the particular concept about the volumes, and the another thing is the S3. So S3 is nothing but the simple storage service that we are using, and we can easily work with a particular platform. And inside that we need to create the bucket, and inside the bucket we have to keep the various different files. So currently, see, you can see over here, we have the bucket. We have to just name the bucket, and we can easily work with that particular platform. So I think this was the basic information about the EC2 instance, AWS Essentials, S3 part. We have seen the block storage. So any questions you have, if you want, we can start the question answer session right now. Yes, anyone is having any of the questions regarding the session that we are going, so we can discuss in detail.
If you have any questions, you can ask the question or you can type in the chat box also. Okay, so Junaid can explain to you, clarify your query. Okay, so it seems there are no questions. So thank you, Junaid, for the session. And
Thank
we will have the recording of this webinar also available so that you can view it later. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. Thank you.
you.